the reason I come back to this place time after time after time is that every time I come, I see something different. This is the main track into the Fen, and I have walked this track so many times, both sides. It's like the Blackpool strip, all the amusements and stuff and the pier. It's like there's so many shots along this way, and I've taken a lot of them, and I love coming back and just finding something new. And it's the little things that make the difference. It's the little things that make something more attractive to shoot than the last time you were here, perhaps. And this time I'm here at the end of October. The colours are, I would say they're still turning. We're still not into peak autumn here at all in the Fen. We've definitely got the yellows coming out now, and the brackens turn, but that's the first to turn anyway. But we've really not got much of the oranges yet. We're still into that sort of transition from green to yellow phase. I suppose it depends on where we are within the Fen. The ones on the closer to the edge are more autumnal than the rest. But this little track here, there's a little copse on the left hand side which is a bit open, and there's a tiny little bit of mist across the base of the Fen, just a slither. And there's a tree that I've actually shot before, in a different direction. I think it was when we had the hoarfrost. It's just a simple little tree. It hasn't really turned. It's still quite green, really. But with a little bit of low-lying mist across the base of the ferns, and the transition of the colour of the ferns, and the fact that you've got the yellow leaves and the green leaves, and that subtle, soft light you get first thing in the morning, it just stood out. And it's a simple little shot, very simple. The tree coming in from right to left, mist along the bottom, and some slight different colour textures of the trees behind. I'm on my 100 to 400. I'm in at 320 odd. F16, which I tend to do when I'm shooting at distance with a telephoto, just to sort of maximise that depth of field. Yeah, job done at 1.6 seconds. We've got a little bit of movement, so there'll be a little bit of leaf blurrage going on, but doesn't matter. It's all about the atmosphere of the shot. So yeah, welcome back to Holme. Been a while since I've been here. Wanted to see what the autumnal colours are looking like, so I'll put this one up, let you have a look at this, and then I will continue to explore. Well, that didn't take long. 5 minutes, less than that from where I was a second ago, walking further along the path. Turned around and saw this beautiful light just cascading through these trees here on the path. That's why we should get up early in the morning, despite whether there's great conditions or not, just to get that early morning soft light, because it's surprising how much of a difference that makes to the shots. And this shot is all about that light just hitting the tops of the bracken on the right hand side, the edges of the bark of the trees, backlighting the leaves. I quite like the fact that there's leaves that surround the arch of the path that comes through, and then the light is just torchlight showing you through the path up towards the front of the frame. So you're either leading through the frame or you're coming this way. And yeah, composition is just arranging the trees so it sort of snakes through. Very simple, straightforward, reacting to the light using these gorgeous trees as our subjects. So yeah, another one. How about that? 2 in the space of 5 minutes. It's all downhill from now on. It's not often that I turn up at the Fen in the morning and don't bump into my good friend Paul Benz. This morning I found him, along with Nigel Northwood, another regular visitor to the Fen at a weekend morning, closely inspecting these birch logs where they'd come across a huge selection of little tiny mushrooms. Now Paul's in his element when he's photographing small scenes within the Fen, and particularly these mushrooms. So I stood and watched them for a while, his technique, and the results of which were, as always, quite stunning. Here's the shot now that he managed to capture. That's really strange. It's not strange, but well, that just goes to show. I just stopped to take this shot just here. All I'm doing now is just reacting to little patches of light. The sun's come up now. Blue sky, I didn't predict to be blue sky, but it's blue sky, so the sun's coming through. It's quite hard. Well, it's not harsh, but it's harsher than I'd like. So all I'm doing now is just finding little patches of light that are hitting the leaves and the ferns and the bracken, and just trying to make something from those. And there's a little scene here of a combination of the brown bracken against the green leaves on the branch of the birch above. And I did take it a second ago, and then I started to film this talking to you, and I've just recomposed it just to have another look at it, and it's totally different now because obviously the light's moved. The light was on one of the what's the name for them, the stem of the bracken, frond, is it? The frond of the bracken. It was just sitting on the top of that, and it was just help pointing the bottom of the frame where the two brackens meet, pointing them together. You could see both of them, but now the light's not hitting it, and it's just not, the shot's not there anymore. So I'm pleased I took it when I did. So yeah, it's getting quite tough. The other trouble with shooting birch trees in this sort of light is that you get really strong hot spots off of the bark, because obviously the barks are silvery bright, and once you've got the sun hitting the side of them, it's really difficult to control the highlights. You're really trying to, reduce your exposure massively to reduce the highlight on the birch, but then of course you've got to increase your shadows, and you might choose to bracket, and I don't really like bracketing in woodland, if I'm honest. It's not the sort of thing I'd like to do. So I don't tend to shoot the birches when you've got direct light hitting them at this time of day. And when I say this time of day, it's 9:30 in the morning, so it's hardly late. But I tend to get attracted to sort of these path shots behind me, where the light's just hitting the floor, and it's a bit subdued because it's when it comes through the leaves at the top, it diffuses it a little bit. So I tend to shoot stuff like that. I've got loads of shots like that. Trouble is, those shots tend to look nice when I look at them with my eye, but then bringing them back and looking at them in Lightroom, they're not that great, if I'm honest. So I probably won't shoot that one. But this one here looked quite nice in camera, so I think that might be a 4x3, something like that. I think that one might edit quite nicely. So yeah, I'm just gonna carry on walking. I'm on the loop back. I'm heading back to the car now. If I get anything else, I'll stop and take it. It's good to catch up with Paul and Nigel earlier on. I've probably shared the shot already of the mushroom shot that Paul took, but it looked really nice. So yeah, he's a master of his woodland, master of his woodland and master of his macro, really, when it comes to mushrooms and things. So yeah, always good to see those guys. But I'm going to wander around. I'll head to the car, and as I say, I'm hopeful that I'll get at least one more shot in before I head back. But it's been, so far, great to be back here, and also great to be here when the colours are starting to turn, and this place comes into really my favourite season, which is, autumn into winter. I think is a great season for this place. So, not least of which because you can get around a bit easier. The bracken's down, and you can literally just see above it and see the competitions. I've had the 100 to 400 on all morning. I feel really comfortable with this lens here. I do love the 24 to 120 that I've got. It's a really nice lens, but I think when I'm here in Holme Fen, when this lens is on my camera and I'm just looking around and seeing the smaller scenes with my eyes, I just feel more comfortable, and I tend to generate shots more frequently with this on than I would be with a slightly wider scene. But you know, that's just me. It's just the way I see, I think, and just the way I react to scenes that are quite a way in the distance, but then I'll frame them in my mind and I'll put my own little grid around them, whether that's a square or 4x3 or 16:9, and I can see it roughly how it's going to look. And then of course the 100-400 allows me to get into that scene quickly. So yeah, right, I'm going to head on. As I say, hopefully I'll get one more. If not, I'll speak to you before I disappear. Well, I think that's me done. The light is just a tad too harsh, and those hot spots I was talking about earlier on are really standing out on the birch trees. So yeah, I'm gonna call it here. So I'm wonking it. Back up straight, there we go. Yeah, I'm gonna call it here. I think I did get a couple of shots earlier on, well, one that might be okay, so I'll put that on at the end if it is any good. But it is literally just reacting to, as I say, these little patches of light, and a lot will depend on if I can control that light in Lightroom when I get back. But it's been fantastic to get back around here again. I've had a 2.5 hour, 3 hour stroll around Holme this morning, and yeah, it's just lovely to be here. Lovely to be back. Surprised actually that the colours aren't as autumnal as I expected them. We're on the 22nd of October today, so we're, you know, a week into November, and we're still quite green actually. So I think it's going to be mid-November potentially before we get the real rich orange colours of the birches coming through here. But of course that all coincides with increased chance of storms and high winds, and as soon as that comes, then the leaves don't tend to last too long. So it's going to be a balance to try and get here before that happens. So yeah, hopefully I'll be back again in a few weeks to see if I can get some of those oranging tones in the birch leaves, which I do really enjoy taking. But anyway, great to be here, great to be back around. Hope you've enjoyed this little wander around. 1 or 2 images there that hopefully have come out okay. And yeah, so that's it. Not been that regular in terms of videos, that is. As you'll have appreciated. So, you know, I'm not going to guarantee to keep putting these out on a regular basis. They will appear as and when I tend to record them and, you know, be bothered to edit them, if I'm honest. I haven't got this channel in terms of trying to make any money or any sponsorship or anything like that. It's just me being out, enjoying myself as and when I can, and sharing it with you guys. So hope you appreciate that, and thanks for sticking around, those that have, and I shall see you whenever I'm out next time. All right, take care guys, see ya.